Okay, thank you, everybody. Good afternoon. And I'm proud to be joined by Senators Klobuchar, Merkley, and Gallego. So, yesterday, the House and Senate finally agreed to pass legislation to compel Donald Trump to release the Epstein files. A few hours after it passed the House, I came to the floor and got unanimous consent for the Senate to immediately pass that bill. I told Leader Thune that I was going to come to the floor and ask for a unanimous consent request that deemed the bills passed. And at about 5, before the first vote, and at about 10 of 5, he said he wasn't going to block it. That was good. But enough with the Republican delay, dithering, and dilly-dally. This morning, the Senate finally received the Epstein bill. It's finally on its way to the president's desk. That's right. After months of waiting, months of Republican delay, so many failed attempts from Trump to hide the truth, the Epstein File Transparency Act is headed to the desk. It's a huge step for justice, for the brave and unrelentingly courageous victims. They were amazing. It wouldn't have happened without them. We salute them. It's also a great day for Americans, because Americans wanted to see the truth. Let's be clear, though, this wouldn't have happened without Democrats like the people with me today. But we are not done. No way. Our promise to the victims and to the American people is this. This will not and cannot be the end of the work. We'll keep the pressure up, pressure for the president to sign, and then pressure on the DOJ to release the full, unredacted files. No hiding, no game playing, no covering up. Pressure to make sure the documents are released in their entirety and not warped by a corrupt DOJ who's hell-bent on hiding the truth, bending the law, and protecting Trump. Trump's own Justice Department that told him he was in the files. Remember this. We know he's in there. He knows he's in them. What the heck is he hiding and been hiding for so long? It's time for the truth. This bill is a command for the president to be fully transparent, come fully clean, and provide full honesty to the American people, even if he doesn't want to. And just like we did with this vote, and for months on end, Democrats will fight for full transparency, nothing less. Senator Klobuchar.
Thank you very much, Leader Schumer. Courtney Wild, 14 years old when she was sexually abused by Epstein. Danielle Bensky, 17 years old when Epstein sexually abused her. Her mom had a brain tumor, and he told her that he could help her mom, but only if she abided by his demands, including recruiting other girls. He told her, I can use it to help you, or I can make it really difficult for your mother. As she said recently, it's a call to action. We're standing up for so many victims of sexual assault. As a former prosecutor, I can tell you that's what this is about. It is also about trust. When Donald Trump and the Republicans promised the American people time and time again, whether it was about bringing down costs, not true. Whether it was about making changes that help people, not true. But whether it was about releasing these Epstein files, now we'll find out the truth. Donald Trump knew that there was overwhelming numbers of votes coming in against him, and at that moment, he made the decision that he would say that he wanted the vote to go through. At that moment, when Senator Schumer made the decision to come forward, there was no one who would stand up and say, nope, we shouldn't have them released. And I thank Senator Schumer for doing this. The House discharge petition materialized because there were the votes to override his veto. So now is the moment of truth. One, he has to sign it, but two, and most importantly, when we look at what the Attorney General of the United States, who is running a Justice Department that literally when Donald Trump orders them by Truth Social or in person to do something, they do it. Drop charges, they'll do it. pardon their friends, they'll do it. It is literally a snap of their fingers. Make sure that you charge a Federal Reserve governor or the Attorney General of the state of New York or the former FBI director. We're there, we'll do it. That's what's been going on. So right now, we're facing a moment because of these faux investigations that she is now claiming are reopening. Now we're going to find out, are they really going to release the files or not? And we are ready to stand up for victims like Danielle and so many others in this country.
The Epstein files have always been about full accountability for the perpetrators and justice for the victims. And Donald Trump, when he campaigned, he said, I'm going to release these files. It became increasingly clear that that was.
Don't be a hater. Don't be over here caping for pedophiles, Osgood. Don't be over here paying for Osgood. Don't be over here hating and caping for pedophiles. There's a lot of shit that y'all cape for. Y'all cape for a lot of bullshit. Don't come over here caping for pedophiles.
Wasn't going to be in the case. So in July, 25 Democrats introduced the Epstein files bill. Not one Republican would co-sponsor it. 4 months ago, then 2 months ago, Leader Schumer introduced that bill as an amendment on the Defense Authorization Act. And 51 Republicans tabled it. And every Democrat said, no, let's debate it and let's pass it. That's just 2 months ago. And then here we were yesterday evening. We called for all 100 senators to join in the vision of equal justice under law, and they did. And that's a great stride forward. But it is not the finish line. Because we know that Trump is not going to release those files. We are going to press him like hell. But everything we know about Donald Trump is he will obscure and delay. And there's a second set of files in the Treasury Department. $1.5 billion in suspicious activity reports. Senator Wyden and his finance team led an investigation with some bipartisan support. Those files provide huge information that will complement the information from the Department of Justice. Now, what happened yesterday evening was a really huge tribute to grassroots Americans from the far right, from the middle, from the left, all saying we believe that powerful men abusing and raping teenage girls should be held accountable.
Hey, Rainbow.
It's a vision throughout the political spectrum. And it was certainly a huge stride forward for the victims who so courageously stood up and shared their stories. But let's keep working toward the finish line when there will be actual accountability for the perpetrators and full justice for the victims.
Senator Gallego.
Thank you. Well, today we've won the battle for justice. We won the battle for these poor women that were victimized repeatedly, both by these awful elite men, as well as the Trump administration by trying to cover up every step of the way accountability. But it's just a battle. There is still war that needs to go on. We should not be in any doubt that this president's going to take every opportunity, along with his allies, along with Attorney General Pam Bondi, to slow down, to cover up, to confuse, because at the end of the day, the truth will come out and it will hurt this administration. So I just encourage everyone that was involved from the fight from day one to make sure that we do not fall for the same traps that he's going to continue to put down. These women deserve justice. These women deserve to be treated like any other U.S. citizen. And just because it was elite men from New York City or from Mar-a-Lago or from wherever in the world, they deserve to be brought to trial and to justice just as much as anyone else. The president needs to show that he is for us and not for them, and stop trying to stop a real open investigation and a real understanding of what happened with the Epstein files. Thank you.
Okay, questions? Yes.
What's your reaction to this proposal from helped Committee Chairman Bill Cassidy to set up HSA accounts to help people afford insurance plans on the Obamacare marketplace. Could that be a potential common ground? Is that?
Look, we insist on that the ACA tax credits have to be renewed and extended, period. If Cassidy's proposal, as I understand it, replaces them, looks like it's privatizing health insurance, and it looks like it's really problematic, and particularly problematic to do very quickly. Yes.
Leader Schumer, Republicans have said that Democrats have been too singularly focused on President Trump's role in the Epstein files. What would you say to that criticism? And are you equally concerned about the names of Democrats or people that donated to Democratic causes that could pop up?
We think every name should come out. Everything. There should be no cover up. Yes, this late. Yes, you haven't called on you.
About the Russian sanctions bill. Are you hopeful that it will finally get a vote this month now that Trump said he's okay with it? And if it does become law, what do you think should be the focus? Do you think there should be 100% tariffs on Turkish goods, Chinese goods, Hungarian goods? What would be the most effective?
Look, the bottom line is I think there are 87 co-sponsors or sponsors, including Leader Thune and myself. We've wanted to move the bill for a long time. Hopefully it can move. Putin has to be told in every way that he cannot be just a bully and overrun Ukraine. Okay? No, you gentlemen. Yeah.
Leader Schumer, given the federal court's decision in Texas yesterday to strike down their gerrymandered maps, are you boosted by Democrats' chances nationally going into 2026?
Look, I'm boosted by Democrats' chances nationally to begin with. Why? Because the American people are on our side. The issue of health care has been a dramatic cleavage between Democrats fighting to prevent these premiums from going up and Republicans standing in the way. Even we've seen this over and over again. The American people know we're on their side. They know the Republicans are opposing them, and that's going to serve us very well in 2026. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Damn. Do your thing.
The shutdown is over, and thankfully, after 43 days, we had enough Democrats who concluded that continuing to punish the American people with an extended shutdown wasn't the right way to deal with the challenges that face our country. And so we're all very pleased that we are out of the shutdown. And of course, the question now is what comes next. And I think, at least here in the Senate, we have a lot of things, as you know, we have to get done. The defense authorization bill, which has passed the Senate, is now being conferenced with the House. When that conference is complete, we want to get that across the floor of the Senate. We have another nominations package we need to clear before the end of the year. And of course, we want to get the appropriations process moving again. It got slowed down during the shutdown, unfortunately. And as a consequence of that, we've got a lot of ground to make up. But as you all know, we did pass the 3 appropriations bills and Milcon VA, Ag, and Ledge Branch. So 3 of the 12 are now law. And those 3 we got across the floor of the Senate before August, which is the first time that's happened since 2018. So as you all know, we are very committed to regular order on appropriations. We think that's the best way to fund the government, rather than having an omnibus bill written in the leader's office or a year-long CR. Going through a normal appropriations process where the committee marks up bills, has input from all the members on the committee, reports them to the floor, and there's an open process, transparent process on the floor, we think is the best way to fund the government. And so the challenge now is to get the next package ready to go. We've got the defense appropriations bill ready. We tried to move to that during the shutdown. The Democrats blocked it. We want to get on that. We're also trying to clear 4 other appropriations bills to put together a minibus that we could act on here in the Senate. So we're working through those holds, but I would just urge everybody who is interested in actually having the government funded through the traditional appropriations process to try and work constructively to get these bills up on the floor, to let us get on them and have an amendment process and try and process them in a way that enables us to fund the government through the appropriations process, as opposed to, as I said, either a continuing resolution or an omnibus or something like that. Those are not solutions that are good for the country, and they're certainly not good for this institution or for the House of Representatives. We want to do it the old-fashioned way. So that's what we intend to be working on over the course of the next several weeks, and I'm hopeful we'll have more progress to report. Although it was totally unnecessary.
Yeah. People coming out saying all kinds of weird shit. What the hell is going on? What the hell is going on? Here we go.
Morning, everyone.
Morning.
Next week throughout America, families will be gathered together at the dining room table. And millions of Americans are going to experience sticker shock as they prepare for Thanksgiving. The Trump administration itself acknowledges that the cost of turkeys has gone up 40% since last November. Grocery costs are through the roof, housing costs out of control, electricity bills through the roof. And the Trump administration and Republicans here in Congress continue to refuse to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits. That means that tens of millions of Americans are about to experience dramatically increased premiums, copays, and deductibles. In some cases, health insurance costs are going to go up $1,000 or $2,000 per month. We have a cost of living crisis in the United States of America, and Donald Trump and Republicans haven't done a damn thing about it. In fact, costs aren't going down, costs are going up all throughout America. And the Trump tariffs are costing everyday Americans thousands of dollars in additional expense per year. Now, House Republicans are on vacation for 7+ weeks, a taxpayer-funded vacation, until they were forced to crawl back into town. We have a week of legislative session that began on Monday and will last until Friday. And House Republicans haven't brought a single bill to the floor that actually addresses the high cost of living in the United States of America. It's perplexing. What is wrong with these people? What did they not get from their shellacking 2 weeks ago all across America, up and down the ballot, in state after state after state, where the American people have made clear we don't support Republican extremism. Republicans have done nothing to make our life better. And we're thankful for Democrats for continuing to lean in to driving down the high cost of living. And now we're in the midst of this healthcare affordability fight. And Donald Trump's response to it is, let's repeal the Affordable Care Act. No credible plan to make healthcare more affordable for the American people. Donald Trump's plan, adopted by House Republicans, is let's repeal the Affordable Care Act, and we're going to continue to refuse to extend tax credits that make healthcare more affordable for working class Americans, middle class Americans, and everyday Americans. House Democrats are going to continue to stand on the side of the American people. Our fight will be to continue to lower the high cost of living, to address the Republican healthcare crisis, fix our broken healthcare system, extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits, and actually do things that are designed to make life more affordable for the American people. Questions?
Leader Jeffries.
Honor.
During the very high profile Michael Cohen hearing, Stacey Plaskett was in direct communication with Jeffrey Epstein, and this was after he pleaded guilty to sex crimes. This is after the Miami Herald investigation into all these heinous acts.
You Republicans got to bring something to the table. You Republicans don't stand on anything. That's why nobody wants to go over to your party. Nobody's coming to your party. Don't be mad. You got a corrupt leader. You got corrupt senators. You got corrupt House people, nobody wants to come over to the Republican Party. Stop it.
So why is a Democratic leader, why are you okay with that?
You guys have nothing. You guys have nothing to offer people. Name 2 things that you have to offer people to come over to that side of the table. Name 2 things that you all offer as Republicans to make somebody come over to your table.
I expressed my position on the floor yesterday. My statement speaks for itself. In a bipartisan way, the resolution that was introduced targeting Stacey Plaskett was defeated. And it was defeated for several reasons, including the fact that it was a dramatic overreach related to throwing her off her committees.
But what about her actions?
If you're going to ask a question, you got to let me answer. Democrats and Republicans defeated the censure. Stacey Plaskett has made clear her position as it relates to Jeffrey Epstein repeatedly, and her words speak for itself.
She said, quick, I'm next. I'm up next.
Thank you, Leader. Now, following up on that, should Plaskett be sent to ethics, and should there be an ethics investigation?
There was a vote on that yesterday. My vote speaks for itself. Republicans decided not to go down that road.
Mayor Jeffries.
Thanks.
Yeah, have you met with MBS yet? And
I know you cannot, Steve Guy. I know you cannot be over here talking about Democrats are KKK, and we just got that big gigantic email dump from the City Hall Republicans or up and coming Republicans doing all those racial attacks. I know you're not over here talking about the Democrats have a racial problem or KKK problem when we just got that drop of all those emails from your top Republican leaders. Stop it.
if so, what was discussed? And if not yet, will you be?
I was part of the bipartisan meeting hosted by the speaker this morning. I asked the Crown Prince about his views relative to a just and lasting peace between Israel and the Palestinian people, and his views as it relates to the importance of a two-state solution. Crown Prince reiterated his view that a one-state solution in Israel is impractical, and that the best path forward, of course, involving the reconstruction of Gaza, is to eventually find a robust path toward a safe and secure Israel, living side by side in peace and prosperity with a Palestinian state. I support that position. I think we'll continue to stand by the special relationship between our two countries. It's incredibly important. But as we move forward to find a path toward a just and lasting peace, ultimately, it has to involve a safe and secure Israel, living side by side in peace and prosperity with a Palestinian state, where the Palestinian people can realize their aspirations for dignity and self-determination. Crown Prince reiterated what he has said publicly, his commitment toward finding that path forward.
And was Jamal Khashoggi mentioned at all in his murder?
Wasn't mentioned in the conversations that I was a part of throughout the meeting.
Mayor Jeffries.
Thank you, Mr. Leader. Leader Schumer told reporters yesterday that he consented to adding the Senate phone records provision that the House will vote on tonight to repeal. He said that he wants to make sure that at least Democratic senators were protected from Bondi and others who might go after them later on. Were you previously aware of Schumer's consent, and what's your reaction to it given your opposition to the provision?
No, and I haven't had the conversation with Leader Schumer. What I can tell you is that during the Rules Committee that House Republicans had last week, they expressed their outrage. Republicans expressed their outrage at this Republican senatorial slush fund that was put into the spending agreement that they all voted for, notwithstanding the outrage that 8 Republican senators have basically built into law a slush fund that will give those senators millions of taxpayer dollars. That's special treatment for United States senators in the Republican Party, part of the bill that they all voted for last week. Now, later on today, we're going to be voting on legislation to remove that Senate slush fund that benefits 8 Republican senators. But apparently there's no agreement between Speaker Johnson and Leader Thune that the Senate Republicans will take up that provision, which reinforces the point that everything that House Republicans do is for show. It's not serious. It's not designed to get an end result. And that's why Republicans are suffering all across the country, why the American people, the overwhelming majority of the American people, know that the country is moving in the wrong direction, that the economy is broken, that the Republican control of the House, the Senate, and the presidency has been a disaster for the American people because everything House Republicans do is for show. They can't even get a commitment from Senate Republicans to take up legislation to remove this multi-million-dollar taxpayer-funded slush fund to benefit corrupt Republicans in the Senate. It's time for the House to start to actually do things that matter for the American people in the middle of a cost of living crisis that's devastating hardworking American taxpayers all across the country. But Republicans throughout this week have shown zero interest in making life better for everyday Americans. They continue to be all about the wealthy, the well-off, and their well-connected GOP donors.
Senator Jeffries.
Back.
Thank you. On the Affordable Care Act, Democrats are, obviously you say you want an extension of the tax credits. President says he won't sign that. Senate and House Republicans are talking about various other alternatives. Is there a potential for compromise here? And if so, where does that originate from? Because it seems like the parties are talking past each other. Right
We're
now.
in the middle of open enrollment right now. So tens of millions of people all throughout the country realize that their health insurance premiums are skyrocketing because of the Republican refusal to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits. And during the Trump Republican shutdown, we repeatedly indicated that we want to work together in good faith with the other side of the aisle to address the Republican healthcare crisis. And Leader Schumer even offered a very reasonable proposal, which is a 1-year extension of the Affordable Care Act tax credits, and then a bipartisan commission to discuss fixing our broken healthcare system moving forward that Republicans continue to devastate. And Republicans refuse to take yes for an answer. And so at this moment in time, the House Democratic position is very clear, very simple, very easy, very straightforward. A 3-year extension of the Affordable Care Act tax credits before they expire on December 31st of this year. If Republicans refuse to act, the American people will understand why their health insurance premiums are through the roof and why tens of millions of Americans will no longer be able to go see a doctor when they need them.
Leader Jeffries. Thank you so much, Leader Jeffries. House Oversight Chairman Comer said yesterday on the floor that you had Jeffrey Epstein over for dinner and took money from him back in 2013. This was after he was on the sex offender list. Any comment on that? And will you be holding members accountable regardless of party affiliation if there were any misdeeds related to the Epstein files?
Was that a serious question or a serious statement from malignant clown James Comer that I had Jeffrey Epstein over for dinner, that I accepted money from Jeffrey Epstein? What's extraordinary to me about the clown show on the other side of the aisle is that they lie with impunity on things that are objectively verifiable. And why do they do that? It's because for months, Republicans have been burying the Jeffrey Epstein files, not Democrats. Our view continues to be the same. We want to make sure that what the survivors have asked for, which is full and complete transparency in order to bring about accountability, actually happens. And Congress decisively and in a bipartisan way acted yesterday with respect to the release of the Jeffrey Epstein files. That's a victory for the survivors and a victory for the American people. And Donald Trump needs to sign that bill into law expeditiously.
Some Republicans have implied that there's been a backdoor deal made for those Republican votes yesterday on the Plaskett censure in return for not bringing up a Corey Mills censure. Do you have any response to that? And was there a backdoor deal made there?
What Republicans have
Anna
suggested
Palamuna, who else? Mace, a couple other women.
Yeah, the only thing that I can
MPD.
say is that Democrats are not going to unilaterally disarm. And there's a long list of Republicans worthy of censure. A long list of Republicans. Not enough time in the legislative calendar if Republicans want to go down this road of censuring members or throwing them off committees.
Thank you.
Thanks. A couple of months ago, you had done an event downstairs with Jared Golden to promote a discharge petition on restoring some collective bargaining rights for federal workers. That discharge petition hit 218 on Monday. I'm just wondering what happens now. Do you anticipate that will be called up? Will there be a vote on that bill in December?
Well, Speaker Johnson is required, pursuant to the discharge petition, to set in motion an up or down vote on restoring collective bargaining for hardworking federal employees. And that's a bipartisan discharge petition that will trigger that vote. So we know the votes exist in the House of Representatives. But this is another example of Republicans attacking hard-working American taxpayers, working families, members of organized labor, everyday Americans and middle-class Americans who.
Yes, we're going to have a lot of people held accountable. Unfortunately, we can't hold accountable the people that got pardoned. But we're definitely going to hold a lot of people accountable from this administration because a lot of people going to go to jail when they get done.
Benefit from union involvement and
many Republicans going to go to jail behind this president.
Union participation and collective bargaining against powerful interests across the country. The House Republican majority has been a complete and total failure. They have failed the American people. Life has not gotten better, despite all of their promises to lower the cost of living on day one. Costs have not gone down. Costs have gone up. And the American people know it's because of failed Republican policies.
Thank you, Leader Jeffries. Throughout
Malignant
shutdown,
clown.
you really emerged on national stage, and President Trump didn't hold back his attacks. I know this may sound perhaps counterintuitive, but did this give you perhaps more confidence that he sees you as a strong opponent, the one who can move the political needle? And do you consider presidential run 2028?
Well, I appreciate you suggesting that throughout the shutdown I emerged on the national stage. I think my mother has done a good job of circulating talking points in that regard. But this fight was always about the American people and putting the American people first. And we're going to continue to lean into that fight, to lower the high cost of living, to fix our broken healthcare system, and to clean up corruption. In the Congress, that is going to start with making sure we prohibit stock trading by members of the United States Congress. And of course, we've got to deal with corruption within the Supreme Court and in the administration, the most corrupt administration in American history. Our focus on the non-governmental side will continue to be taking back control of the United States House of Representatives. Because that's the most significant thing that can be done to begin the process of ending this national nightmare that has been visited on the American people by Donald Trump and Republicans. And Democrats are going to take back control of the House of Representatives. And we're going to do so decisively. This whole notion, it was always a fantasy. Some people bought into it. This whole notion that Republicans were going to be able to gerrymander their way into rigging the midterm elections, and Democrats in the House were just going to unilaterally disarm, roll over, and play dead was a fantasy. And I told that to Mike Johnson months ago, directly. This is not going to end well for you. Told that directly to Mike Johnson early, when it was suggested that Texas was going to move aggressively. Because they...
What it has to do with is the American people rejecting Donald Trump and all of his clown car companions en masse. This is what it's about. It's the American people rejecting Donald Trump and all that he has wrought on this country. People realized very quickly that he was a shit show and everybody else deserved to go to prison right along with him.
Must have us confused. We recognize the urgency of the moment. And in state after state, we will continue to decisively and forcefully respond, as we've done in Texas, in California. We're doing it now in Missouri, on the ground, in Virginia, in Illinois, in Maryland.
Yeah, okay, we get it. I got a bunch of magas in the chat. I get it. That blue wave didn't tell you nothing. Wait till the next blue wave come.
Litigation in New York, pushing back against their efforts in red states throughout the country, and of course, with a decisive legal victory in Utah. So our focus is on making life better for the American people, stopping this Donald Trump-inspired effort to gerrymander the national congressional map in order to rig the midterm elections.
Yeah, okay. Okay, the Hispanics are moving away from y'all in droves, and so are the independent. No, Obamacare don't cover TDS, just like it don't cover pedophile protection from the Republican Party. Stop it.
Started this redistricting fight. We will end it.
Haters, all of y'all. Haters. They rejected your king. They rejected your Trump. They're going to continue to reject your Trump because he's a clown, and anybody who follows him is a clown.
And that's the reality that extreme MAGA Republicans are confronting right now.
That being said, just to follow up on that, though, in light of the Texas ruling yesterday, do you worry at some point some of your counter efforts could also be invalidated?
The Texas congressional map that was racially gerrymandered in violation of the law was declared to be unconstitutional in an opinion written by a judge appointed by Donald Trump, who centered that opinion on the corruption and the incompetence and the clear racial motivation of the Department of Injustice.
You all hit that like button, that share button, subscribe button, please and thank you. We have content every day, world news breaking all the time. What's going on in the world? Hit the like, share, and subscribe button, please and thank you.
That's the reality of that decision in Texas. It was clear as day that Donald Trump and Republicans violated the 14th and the 15th Amendments of the United States Constitution. And then they jammed that gerrymandered map down the throats of the people of the great state of Texas in the dead of night. In California, it was a democratic process that ultimately was presented to the voters in the form of Proposition 50. And I'm thankful for the leadership of Governor Newsom. The congressional delegation in California did a tremendous job with respect to the leadership that we saw from everyone. Nancy Pelosi, Pete Aguilar, Zoe Lofgren, incredible job, but everyone in the delegation, and of course, working with our partners in the state legislature, they intentionally leaned into a democratic process that also ensured there was strict compliance with both the Voting Rights Act as well as the 14th and 15th Amendment to the United States Constitution. Very different process. And so the litigation that has been filed, or at least threatened, by the Department of Justice against the California map is frivolous. And by the way, these people at the Department of Justice are both corrupt and incompetent. So much so that they detonated their own gerrymandering efforts in Texas.
Well, they tried to do it. Unfortunately, a lot of people didn't hear about it. But the Texas, Donald Trump called up all the Republican governors and said, eliminate certain districts and get some gerrymandering and get more Republican districts. That's illegal. He called them up earlier this year because he knew he was going to get his ass whooped in the midterms because he knew his agenda is unpopular. Why do you think his agenda is unpopular? It's unpopular. Why do you think he uses so many EOs? He uses so many EOs because he knows anything that he's trying to do, nobody wants him to do. So he's doing it by EO, and it's very unpopular. That's why people keep rejecting him. He's going to continue to get rejected because his agenda is too extreme for most people.
And because Texas has fallen, these people are now in full panic mode because they've set in motion a process that is not going to work out well for them.
Please hit the like, share, and subscribe button. We have this content every day. Please like, share, and subscribe.
In the end.
Thank you, Mr. Leader. You said just a moment ago that there's a long list of Republicans worthy of censure. Nancy Mace is going to be offering a privileged motion to censure Corey Mills later today. How do you plan to vote on that resolution, and will Democratic leadership be whipping your caucus for this vote?
We haven't had a conversation about the resolution because we haven't seen the resolution, so I'll have to take a look at it. Yes.
President Trump has been posting on social media recently about healthcare, specifically saying that the only healthcare he will support.
Half of y'all don't know anything about the Democratic Party. Half of y'all don't even know. Over here caping for pedophiles. That's wild.
Is sending money directly back to the people. Has anyone from the White House or Republican Party approached you or anyone else in the Democratic Party?
And yet and still, you have the leader that has the mental illness. That's wild.
About a specific plan.
No, there hasn't been a single bit of outreach from Donald Trump or the White House about confronting the Republican healthcare crisis because they're not serious about it. It's not even clear to me that Donald Trump understands how the Affordable Care Act tax credits operate. Because hardworking.
And we damn sure gonna cry. And we damn sure gonna try to impeach. Try to impeach if we can.
American taxpayers currently have the option to either utilize the tax credits on a monthly basis to lower their health insurance premiums significantly, or take the tax credits in connection to the filing of their taxes at some point on or before April 15th. The money can already go directly to the taxpayer. So Donald Trump has zero idea of what he's talking about.
He always has zero idea. He never has an idea.
This is all fantasy. It's all political theater from Donald Trump. He's got no interest in making healthcare more affordable for the American people. And by the way, this is the same group of folks, House Republicans, who have literally tried to repeal the Affordable Care Act more than 70 different times over the last 15 years. This is the reason why in public opinion survey after public opinion survey, before the Trump shutdown, during the Trump shutdown, and after the Trump shutdown, the American people overwhelmingly trust Democrats to deal with fixing our broken healthcare system.
Thank you. Just to clarify and a follow-up question on the James Comer accusations, are you saying that your fundraisers never solicited money from Jeffrey Epstein in exchange for a meet and greet? Because he's saying that there's emails proving that.
I have no idea what James Comer is talking about in terms of anything that any prior consultant may have sent. I had no idea about that either, but James Comer apparently made the representation on the floor of the House that I sat down with Jeffrey Epstein, had dinner with Jeffrey Epstein, have contributions from Jeffrey Epstein. He's a stone cold liar, and James Comer knows it.
And that's exactly how you do it. Call them a liar to their face.
This is all part of an effort to try to deflect from their failure.
Republicans do nothing but lie. They don't stand on nothing.
As a House majority to deal with the issues of importance to everyday Americans, and of course, to the fact that Republicans have been running a pedophile protection program for the last several months until the survivors, partnering with a handful of courageous Republicans led by Representative Massey, partnering with Representative Connor and House Democrats, forced Donald Trump, forced Mike Johnson, and forced the Republicans to capitulate so that the American people could have the transparency that they deserve.
And just a quick follow-up, do you regret that Stacey Plaskett did what she did? And is that something that you would tell other Democrats not to do in the future?
I think that Stacey Plaskett has spoken extensively on this issue, and I'll let her words speak for themselves.
Thank you. Following up on ACA, I know you mentioned your position of the discharge petition for the 3-year extension, but what about something like the Kevin Kiley, Sam Ricardo, the bipartisan bill that it's a 2-year extension, it adds income taxes, a couple other conditions. Is that something that leadership could get behind?
Yeah, the House Democratic position right now, supported by the overwhelming majority of House Democrats, is a 3-year extension of the Affordable Care Act tax credits. Now, Republicans have repeatedly been given the opportunity to take yes for an answer and to address this healthcare crisis that they've created, which includes but is not limited to the largest cut to Medicaid in American history. That's what they did in their one big ugly bill. And as a result of what Republicans have done, hospitals, nursing homes, and community-based health centers are closing all across the country, including in rural America. This is devastating everyday Americans. In that same period of time, Republicans set in motion a possible cut to Medicare. They're going after the Centers for Disease Control, $1.7 billion cut to the CDC. That will be the largest cut in American history. In this appropriations process, that's what Republicans are trying to do. They also want to enact the largest cut, about $500 million, to the National Institute of Health. That will be the largest cut in American history. And on top of all of that, Republicans continue to refuse to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits, jeopardizing the health and well-being of tens of millions of Americans. Mike Johnson has said he's got no interest in dealing with this issue. There's no urgency. We're back this week full-time. He's done nothing. No bills, no discussion, no outreach. Why? Because Republicans aren't interested in making life better for everyday Americans. Republicans, like they did in their one big ugly bill, largest cut to Medicaid in American history, ripped $186 billion in SNAP funding from hungry children, seniors, and veterans. And why did they do all of that? To provide massive tax breaks to their billionaire donors, which they made permanent. But now Republicans can't even find a dime or the time of day to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits for tens of millions of working class Americans. Shame on them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You never answered if he's going to run for
Texas tonight, a federal court has blocked the state from using its newly drawn congressional map, one that aimed to flip several Democratic-held districts to Republicans ahead of the 2026 midterms. In a 2-to-1 ruling, the judicial panel said the map was unconstitutional and racially gerrymandered, directly faulting Governor Greg Abbott for ordering the legislature to draw districts based on race. The judges ruled that the state must revert to its 2021 map. Governor Abbott immediately blasted the decision as absurd, and Texas has now appealed to the U.S. Supreme Court. But civil rights groups are calling the ruling a major victory, saying the rejected map would have further diluted the power of Black and Hispanic voters.
Black and Latino vote strength is diluted by the creation of these districts. And so for that reason, we see the court kind of stepping in and putting a pause on these districts to allow for that type of investigation to happen.
Scammers demand payment with gift cards. Don't share codes or personal details.
The NONRACP points out that while Texas is only 40% white voters control over 73% of its congressional seats. Lawyers for Latino groups say the map intentionally packed minority voters into a few districts while removing them from others, eliminating potential majority-minority seats. The court agreed, finding that Texas lawmakers use race as a primary factor in drawing lines, violating constitutional protections against racial discrimination in voting. The decision also deals another blow to President Donald Trump, who had pushed aggressively for redistricting efforts in GOP-led states to secure more Republican seats.
It is unconstitutional to draw district lines with race as the primary factor. And it's also a violation of the Voting Rights Act to purposely draw district lines in such a way that minority groups, and so that could be based on race, it could also be based on language, are seeing their voting strength diluted.
In California, Democrats have approved a new map targeting 5 Republican districts, prompting Trump's team to sue. With Republicans holding a razor-thin 219 to 214 majority in the U.S. House, the stakes could not be higher. A handful of seats will determine control of Congress in 2026, and Texas was key to the GOP strategy. Tonight's ruling sends the redistricting fight straight toward the Supreme Court, setting up a potentially landmark showdown over who gets to draw the lines and who holds the power in Washington.
I would say, Houston, let me hear you, but then, look, you know. Oh my God. Okay. I'm gonna calm down. I am so excited to be back home. Now, y'all know we got a little drama going on, you know, at my workplace. So it's a little dramatic, okay? And I've got to tell y'all that I'm not only excited to be home, but I'm excited to be home and to be home with a real governor. Because well, anyway. Some of y'all may know how I feel about him. Yeah. So y'all are so funny. Okay. Let me get to this so I can get to the main thing. Okay. We love you, Jess. Oh, I love you back. I love you back. So I never know what I'm going to say. And so there's so much energy in here that I know that I'm going to my phone and I'm gonna say the stuff on my phone. So, oh yes, the sorors in here too. So as I was on the trail, y'all gonna let me get through this. So as I was on the campaign trail, and I was on the campaign trail for Biden and Harris. Yeah, the people. Yeah, right. Okay. All right. I digress. So I used to go so many different places around the country, and some of you may know that I'm the child of a preacher, and so I would always come up with a song. So I didn't have like a Bible verse I would come from, but I would go from like a song. It may be something that's modern, or it may be a gospel song. And considering the energy in here, this feels appropriate. There is a gospel song that goes, "I don't feel no ways tired." It says, I've come too far from where I started from. Nobody told me the road would be easy. I don't believe he brought me this far to leave me. Now, the reason that I want to start with this song, because I need y'all to have this energy, this amazing energy that I am feeling in this room. I'm gonna need y'all to keep it up. Y'all are not going to be allowed to feel tired because we got a lot of work to do. Now, I know that we have talked about November 4th and everybody was really excited about November 4th. We even saw historic wins in places like Mississippi and Georgia without them even having the investments. Let me tell you something, Texas, we can do this.
Are you throwing out racial shit around here, Carlise? Are you throwing racial shit around in my chat?
We can do this if you just make sure.
You Republicans are poorer than us Democrats, Steve Guy. You Republicans are poorer than we are.
That you keep that song in your mind, that you feel no ways tired. So let's talk about where we came from, okay? I hate to talk about it, but we're going to talk about it. So,
you all hit that like and share and subscribe button. We have this content every day. Different content, different subjects, different people.
As I said, as we did a rally.
I don't particularly care for Jasmine Guy, but that's okay. She's okay with me, but I don't want to listen to her all that. But I would like to find out what happened to this young lady right here. Here we go.
Along, and let's let the Democratic caucus, not only for voting with me, but for speaking on my behalf during the general debate, as well as those members in the Republican Party who voted with the Democrats and those who tacitly voted with us by either voting present or not voting at all during the censure. And I'm hopeful that we can now get back to the work that we do in Congress rather than the political theater that has been happening. The files have been released, which I have been in favor of all along. And let's let the victims get their justice and let us get to the work of Congress. We've been on over a 70-day paid time off. Democrats have been doing town halls, coming back to Congress. Republicans have been nowhere in sight. And the people of this country are in need of our support and of the work that needs to be done.
We know that Epstein had property in the Virgin Islands, right?
Yes.
What was your relationship with Epstein?
So Jeffrey Epstein was a constituent. He was a resident of the Virgin Islands, lived there, I guess, more than half of the year because he was registered there. I had received donations from him after the last investigation came out, which was after this texting. I gave any donations that I had previously received from him to women's organizations and did not have any contact with him. But like many constituents, individuals get your phone number, they text you about issues, they speak with you. I have spoken with him about issues that are relevant, things that are going on in the Virgin Islands and elsewhere around the country.
Right, but on that day that we're talking about, you initiated the text exchange at 7:55 in the morning. So why were you even texting with Epstein at the time? He was a known sex offender then.
Sure. I explained to people, I've been a prosecutor for many years. And there are a lot of people who have information that are not your friends, that you use to get information to get at the truth. This was 7 years ago. And people need to understand this was a huge hearing that was taking place with Michael Cohen finally coming forward to talk about monies that he had with the hush money, potential hush money that had been paid to Stormy Daniels to keep her quiet about the allegations against Trump. We were entering a hearing. Lots of people were texting me. Lots of people were giving me information. And I find it really interesting and almost rich that the Washington Post took 30 seconds, one set of question line that I did, and say that Epstein was directing me as to what to question Michael Cohen. I have 5 minutes of questioning. I had a lot of questions, 20 years of experience that I had at the time, along with other information I was getting from many sources about issues that should have been raised. And I also want to say that the issues that I raised in that hearing related to individuals who were closest to the president and who could know about money has never been looked into.
Right, and we have the full transcript right here. But no doubt you have an impressive resume, right? You're a former federal prosecutor. You were an impeachment manager. But yes or no, if Epstein had not brought up Rona to you in that text, would you have asked Michael Cohen about her independently?
Probably not. I asked about 3 other individuals as well. Everyone knew, other people knew that this woman had been the president's assistant. I talked about other individuals who were also close to him that other people had given me information about, that I'd found other information about. And there were other issues that I talked with him about as well, Michael Cohen, that I brought up during that time.
Right.
So as a prosecutor, as an investigator, you glean information, get information where you can. Some of it is relevant, some of it is not, and you put it all together and you ask the questions.
And I understand you're saying, look, he was a constituent, right? And whether or not they're good or bad, you're just trying to get information to get to the truth. But at this time, this was happening after he had already pleaded guilty to state prostitution charges. And then there was that Miami Herald article that came out in 2018 detailing how widespread the sexual abuse was, interviewing 80 women who said that he sexually abused her. So abused them, I should say. So I'm wondering, as you look back, do you think that it was an error in judgment to be communicating with him at all? Do you have any regrets?
Well, listen, I think Jeffrey Epstein is a reprehensible person, absolutely disgusting. I lived in a house during childhood with a mother who had been sexually abused by her dad. And I know the effect that that had on her, as well as us as her family. And so I understand what the victims are going through, and I want them to get their their justice, their peace out of this. I believe that Jeffrey Epstein had information, and I was going to get information to get at the truth. Having a friendship with him is not something that I would deem to have. And so I'm just looking forward. I'm moving forward. And I think that that's what we as American people should do, is move forward. If individuals are not involved in illegal activity, extending his criminal enterprise or his financial enterprise or all of those things, I think that we need to look at what people are doing moving forward.
Wait, let me just better understand that. What is that point? Because at the time he was a known sex offender and it had been detailed all the sexual abuse.
There are a lot of people who have done a lot of crimes. And as a prosecutor, you get information from people where you can. I've interviewed confidential informants. I've interviewed narcotics, drug traffickers and others. And that doesn't mean that I'm their friend. That doesn't mean that they are.
She just needs to own it. She just needs to own it. Epstein, she just needs to own it. We don't know why he was texting her. We don't know why he was trying to say whatever he was saying, we don't know why she was talking to him. We don't know why she asked a question about whatever. I'm pretty sure. But, it's nothing more nefarious than her asking questions. She needs to own it and just leave it alone. Yeah, he told me X, Y, and Z, and I actually made the connection. And then I use that connection. That's all she got to say. Just dumb.
Friendly with me, it means that they have information that I need and that I'm trying to get at the truth. And that's what I did.
So no regrets, basically, is what you're saying.
I'm moving forward.
Before I let you go, Congresswoman, and I call you Congresswoman, you're a non-voting delegate.
Well, limited voting. We vote in committee, vote on amendments on the floor, but not in full vote. Thank you.
We don't know jack shit till we get those tapes. We don't know jack shit till we see some tapes. We need all the tapes. We need everybody, all the names, everybody. And Trump wouldn't be hiding so much. He wouldn't be fighting so much for these things to come out if he wasn't in them or something devastating is in those tapes. You just got to find out what's in the tapes because they're devastating. Let's hope they don't redact them all where we don't see anything, because I'm pretty sure Trump didn't fight these tapes just to be fighting them for other people. He was fighting these tapes for himself. There's some bullshit in them tapes relating to him, relating to bullshit that he got started.
Talk a little bit about this visit by Mohammed bin Salman, the Saudi crown prince. You're on the Intelligence Committee. You're well informed. Yesterday, President Trump was strongly defending him in the Oval Office as far as the murder of the Washington Post columnist Jamal Khashoggi. And he was saying basically he knew nothing about this, the murder or anything, even though the CIA had reported at the time that there was strong evidence that the Crown Prince personally ordered the murder of this journalist. What's your reaction?
Well, my reaction is that the president that we have in office right now is more interested in financial gain and pecuniary interests than he is in other things, whether that be American continuing to have the moral high ground or us, engaging in the manner that we should. Should he meet with this world leader? Yes. Should he be feting him or?
Yeah, that's what you think, Scott Dickens. That's what you think. They didn't release the files because they were under investigation, and they didn't get done investigating them in enough time for Garland, for his steady, slow pace, to put them on the record. So they didn't have anything to do with the tapes. They were being investigated. Nobody said anything about releasing. Nobody said anything about running on the tapes. The only person that said somebody was running on the tapes was Trump. So the only time they should have came out was under Trump, because he's the only one who said he was going to run on the tapes. Don't be blaming Biden because Biden didn't want to get pulled into this bullshit. Biden just didn't want to get pulled into the bullshit, and they were on investigation. That's the dumbest question ever. Why didn't Biden release him? He must not be in him. If Biden didn't release him, he must not have anything in him. No, Trump has been fighting tooth and nail for these files not to come out. There's something in the files against him. There's something in the files.
Giving him a pass on past transgressions? I believe not.
All right. Congresswoman Stacey Plaskett, thank you so much.
Yeah, that's the whole point. Goofy shit that he be saying. Look at this. Look at it. Look at this goofy. Look at this goofy right here. Look at this. Hold on. This goofy right here. What's his name? What's his name? You remember that in the shutdown, they needed to sign a clean CR, right? The clean CR, but it wasn't a clean CR. 8 Republicans got a payday out of that clean CR of opening the government back up. Lindsey Graham is one of the ones who was on the list to get that $500,000 payday that was put into the bill, into the shutdown bill in the middle of the night. Lindsey Graham was one of the ones who gets a payday.
I know some of your colleagues.
Yeah, I want to expand it. I think we need, apparently, this former Speaker of the House, another House member, and there are about 12 groups that we found that were targeted by Jack Frost. Arctic Frost. So without a remedy.
So now they trying to put more Republicans to get free money from the U.S. government. They trying to get more senators and House Republicans to get more money from us as the taxpayer so they can get paid because they were under investigation. So let's get paid under that whole thing. We just paid 8 senators to get paid $500,000 or less. Now they want to expand it to more senators so that we as a taxpayer are going to fund the fact that they were investigated. This is wild. And this is the ringleader.
There is no right. So they went after my phone. I did nothing to deserve that. They issued, a judge signed an order saying that if you told me about the inquiry about my phone records, I would be likely to intimidate witnesses or destroy evidence. That's legal slander. I am definitely going to sue. But those who've had their rights violated, if there's not a private cause of action, then they truly get away with it. So it's very important that people who've been abused by the government have a private right of action, and it's going to be well beyond the Senate. Now, what we did, the Senate has a contract with Verizon that they're supposed to tell us if anybody asks for our phone records. They didn't tell us. There's also a statute on the books about the Senate Sergeant of Arms that they're not to disclose Senate data, even if there's a court order, without telling us. That was violated, but there's no remedy. But the remedy I'm seeking is for all of those who were abused by Arctic Frost, all of those Republican groups like Turning Point, like the Republican Attorney Generals Association, the RNC. We found in the file that they were targeted. We've had at least one staff member in the Senate that I know of. So I want to open this up so that all those who were targeted will have their day in court. It will be up to them and to me to prove that our rights were violated, but without a remedy, there is no right.
What is your message to the House?
And they feel like they should get, they feel like the American taxpayer should pay for them to be investigated. They feel like the American tax, and we're the ones who are footing the bill. This is this senator saying he wants to be compensated, and it starts at $500,000, their compensation. That's wild to me. I don't know why it ain't a bigger scandal. And he wants to add more senators, Republican senators, of course, so they can get a payday from the American people. It wasn't illegally investigated, Tony Tigers. Y'all goofy as hell. Y'all MAGAs are goofy as hell. The taxpayers, yeah, we got to pay for, yeah, but we're not supposed to be paying for awards that they won. That's wild.
What is your message to the House, though? Because they're voting.
They should expand it. They should
But
expand.
they want to repeal it.
Well, then I think we're making a mistake in the sense that we're not giving a remedy to people that were harmed. And I would
Senator,
encourage.
what do you know? Senator, what do you know about this
Russian-
latest Ukraine peace plan? And this
I don't
first
know
world
anything about it, but I'll say this. I hope there's a plan out there, but no plan will work unless Putin believes that we're serious about continuing to provide higher end military aid to Ukraine. And the
I swear to God, Stephenson, I swear to God, you couldn't have said it better if you'd have tried. You couldn't have said it better if you'd have tried. The homophobia enabled Republicans to manipulate you goofies, you MAGAs, with this petty subculture, culture war bullshit. I hate gays, I hate trans, I hate brown. With scare tactics into voting against your own interests. I couldn't have said it better my goddamn self, Stefan. Couldn't have said it better.
bill that we've been working on for a year and a half that President Trump has now green lighted has to pass, because if we don't have that holding over its head, Putin said, I don't think you'll ever get peace. So I would urge the House and the Senate to pass this bill.
So y'all do know, the Epstein files have tapes, videotapes, and audio, right? Y'all do know that they have the video and the audio. These are not emails or paperwork. These are tapes and videotapes and audio tapes, right? Because Epstein taped all of his rooms. He tapes all the rooms in all of his houses. He has tapes of everyone. Yeah, we all late in the game, ain't we?
Yeah, is it your understanding that the sanctions bill has to originate in the House?
It does, but there's a shell that we could use in the Senate, but it's much easier not to have to discharge from the Finance Committee, the House shell.
I believe they're going to release whatever the hell they feel like releasing. Somebody done seen the tapes. Okay.
Need to start it in the House. They've got a lot of co-sponsors. President Trump, I talked to him about this last night. This would give him leverage to get Putin to the table.
Europeans seem like they're cut out of the negotiations of this bill, a potential peace plan.
I don't even know what we're talking about, so I don't want to speculate.
Senator Hawley himself, one of the 8 senators, he said he backed repealing the phone records.
Well, I want to expand it. So there you go.
Do you plan on suing for the full 500,000?
Oh, far more than that. Why do you?
You see, he said, I'm going for far more than that. He's going to sue for far more than that. The $500,000 that they put in the shutdown bill. 8 senators put $500,000 apiece in the shutdown bill. After screaming about We put a clean CR on the table and the Democrats won't sign it. We put a clean CR on the table and the Democrats wouldn't sign it. Then when the Democrats went to go sign it, it wasn't a clean CR. It was a bill. It was a shutdown bill that had 8 senators getting $500,000 from us American people in it. Wow.
You want to make sure that people who are going to issue subpoenas in the future against private citizens to get their phone records without a court order, without a warrant, have to think twice. And if the government doesn't pay, you're going to get more of this. So the only way you're going to prevent this in the future is for somebody to be held liable and the government pay.
What do you think of MBS's visit to the White House? He's meeting with some senators
I think
today.
it was great. When I was helping President Biden try to get a normalization deal, not one Democratic senator brought up Khashoggi. It's a bad chapter in the history of Saudi Arabia. But I find it odd that all of a sudden President Trump is doing something bad but talking to MBS when I, at the direction of President Biden, Blinken, and Jake Sullivan, went to Saudi Arabia 7 or 8 times to visit him, as well as go to Israel to try to land this deal on President Biden's watch. I find it a bit odd that all of a sudden that exercise should not continue. I find it, quite frankly, just...
Yeah, but the whole point is this Saudi prince is a murderous dictator. He's a murderous human being. Now, he wants to play innocent, but we can't take the Saudi Arabian man to task. I don't give a fuck about him. I give a fuck about our president and the clownish behavior that he displayed yesterday. The very clownish behavior that he displayed yesterday when someone asked him and the prince about the Epstein tapes and the prince about Khashoggi going into a Turkish embassy and never coming back out. This is our clown shit president.
Very weak waters where millions of people came in. For the last 6
Our clown shit president.
months, I don't do these reports. They say 0 people have been able to come in. Is that pretty good? I don't know if that number's right, but it's pretty
Mr. President, why wait for Congress to release the Epstein files? Why not just do it now?
You know, it's not the question that I mind, it's your attitude. I think you are a terrible reporter. It's the way you ask these questions. You start off with a man who's highly...
Listen to the shit that he says in public. Instead of saying to that reporter, I'm not answering any of those questions, he does a straight up clown-like attitude. This is a clown president. Just clown president.
Respected, asking him a horrible...
It's embarrassing.
Insubordinate and just a terrible question. And you could even ask that same exact question nicely. You're all psyched up. Somebody psychs you over at ABC. They're going to psych it. You're a terrible person and a terrible reporter. As far as the Epstein files I have nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. I threw him out of my club.
We don't have to cry. We don't need to cry, Grand's Garden. We in the catbird seat. We straight. Y'all crying. Y'all want to cry.
Many years ago, because I thought he was a sick pervert.
You got a clown for a boss. What does it say about the people who follow a clown around like the clown is a god? What does it say about the people who follow clowns around like the clown is a god? Make it make sense.
And I guess I would turn out to be right. But you know who does have? Bill Clinton. Larry Summers, who ran Harvard, was with him every single night, every single weekend. They lived together. They went to his island many times. I never did. Andrew Weissman here. All these guys were friends of his. You don't even talk about those people. You just keep going on the Epstein files. And what the Epstein is a Democrat hoax to try and get me not to be able to talk about the $21 trillion that I talked about today. It's a hoax. Now, I just got a little report, and I put it in my pocket, of all the money that he's given to Democrats. He gave me none, zero, no money to me. But he gave money to Democrats. And people are wise to your hoax. And ABC's, your company, your crappy company, is one of the the perpetrators. And I'll tell you something.
So why not just sign it now?
I think the license should be taken away from ABC because your news is so fake and it's so wrong. And we have a great commissioner, chairman, who should look at that because I think when
Listen to the man embarrass everybody. Listen to the man try to get a one-uppance on a reporter. And he embarrasses everybody. Everybody in the room. This president cannot help himself from being a clown. What does it say if people follow behind a clown as though the clown is their God? What does that say about the people that follow the clown?
you come in and when you're 97% negative to Trump and then Trump wins the election in a landslide, that means obviously your news is not credible and you're not credible as a reporter. So I've answered your question. You should go and look at the Democrats who receive money from us.
And listen to the question she asked next and listen to him go off. What does it say that you follow a clown? What kind of person follows a clown as though the clown is a god?
Who spent their time. Larry Summers was with them all the time. That creep.
I told you we ain't crying. We ain't crying, Grandiers Garden. We ain't crying.
The fund guy was with them all the time. What's his name? Reid Hoffman. I don't know Reid Hoffman, but I know he spends a lot of money on the radical left. Reid Hoffman, in my opinion, should be under investigation. He's a sleazebag. And those are the people, but they don't get any press, they don't get any news, and you're not after the radical left because you're a radical left network. But I think the way you ask a question with the anger and the meanness is terrible. You got to go back and learn how to be a reporter. No more questions from you. Who else has a question?
Friends, very quickly, I want to ask you, how much money is Saudi Arabia giving for Gaza reconstruction?
Well, we are in discussion about that. Still, there is no amount being
It'll be online.
but
It'll be
we will definitely help.
Yeah, he's going to, it's very important to him.
And a quick follow-up, the International Security Force, given your pledge there would be no U.S. boots on the ground, what is the U.S. role going to be in that? And how do you sort of ratify the allegations that this could undermine Palestinian sovereignty and even the path to
I think we're going to get along great with the Palestinians. And we know their leadership. We just had a very, you hate to say war, but it was a war. Very, very successful. And you could say really it was on behalf of everybody. We did that on behalf of everybody. And the outcome was extraordinary because we had the best pilots, the best equipment, the best planes, the best everything. And Israel bought the best equipment. They bought it from us. Everything's from us. It all starts here. This office, I was talking to the Crown Prince a little while. You walk into this office for somebody from the outside, the Oval Office, it's the most powerful place in the world. You're standing right now in the most powerful place in the world. And no matter how big you are, these are the biggest people, the richest people. They walk into this office. It's special, isn't it? Look at them. He's so happy to be here. But you walk into this office. It's the Oval Office. And we've done a lot of good with this office. I've stopped actually 8 wars. I appreciated your question before. But I've actually stopped 8 wars. I have another one to go with Putin. I'm a little surprised at Putin. It's taken longer than I thought. But we stopped India and Pakistan. I could go through the list. You know the list better than I do. I'm very proud. And I stopped one that was almost ready to start again. There was one that was ready to start, and they're doing very well. So it all took place right here in the Oval Office, whether by telephone or whether by they came in. Many of these leaders have come in, and they signed their peace deals right here in the Oval Office. So no matter if it's the biggest business people in the world or the greatest leaders in the world, the biggest leaders in the world, like the gentleman on my right, everybody walks into the Oval Office and they say, wow. And now, by the way, the Oval Office is in the kind of condition that it should be in. Whether you look at the walk or the marble floors or anything down the road, we're fixing the White House and we're building one of the greatest ballrooms ever to be built. We have an event tonight and we're going to have about 118 people because we have a very small room. For 150 years, they've wanted a ballroom, and now you're going to get a great ballroom. And I have to say, I probably made a lot of enemies because in your honor, we're having a dinner tonight, a beautiful dinner tonight, and we have a very small room, right? It's called East Room, and it's beautiful, it's lovely, but it's like for a little cocktail before you go into a ballroom. It's a very small room. They've wanted a new ballroom for 150 years. We could have sold the big ballroom out 3 times in honor of this gentleman. So I made a lot of enemies because I have a lot of people that are invited tonight or are unable to come because of the size constraint. But you know what we'll do before I leave office? We'll have another dinner because we'll have it ready long before I leave office, and it's going to be beautiful. It's you know, it's a very popular thing what we're doing. And by the way, no government funds. It's all put up private money, all private money. And in the case, I think it's there's a restriction on foreigners. Otherwise, I could have asked you just for a check. Okay? But there's a restriction. These are all private individuals that put up a lot of money to build the ballroom. Not one penny is being used from.
This is wild. It is what it is. He's a president that embarrasses himself, embarrasses people. It is what it is. We can't help it. We can never help it. It's always something. It's always something with this president, right? So they took away the gerrymandering. They couldn't do that. They weren't gonna let them do that. Nobody's doing anything. Tonight, we'll be back. Just sent my donation. You all hit the like, share, subscribe. We have this kind of content every day. Please and thank you. I'd appreciate it. Come back. We'll be back tonight. We're going to do a segment on Comey. Try to figure out what's going on with Comey. Because it looked like Comey might beat this case. This fairly vindictive thing that your president has started. And I will see you all later. Please hit the like and share on the way out the door. Please and thank you. Please and thank you. Please and thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate you all. Yes, I do. I'll be back at 10 o'clock. See you then.